So frustrating. So this is the socialization workshop. Mary is our host, but before we get started, I just want to say hello. I'm Shannon. I do a lot of posting in the Hampton Roads Black Home Educator page, along with the other admin team. And we are so glad that you could make it, whether this is your first time with us or you are returning. Thank you so much. My husband made this. I love it.
Oh.
Whoop, whoop. I just wanted to do a little bit of Zoom housekeeping. If for any reason we get shut out, locked out, or everything disappears, just jump back in, go back on the same link, and we'll just rejoin. That doesn't normally happen, but every time I say it doesn't normally happen, then something happens. So remember, technology can be unpredictable. And don't fret, just find that link, come back in, and we'll all meet back up, no problem. While Mary is presenting, I ask that you mute yourself. However, please do not hesitate to jump in with a comment or questions, because we wanted to just stay loose and interactive. And it really sucks when you have to be stuck on mute and all that business. I don't like stuff like that, but that's just my personal opinion. So feel free to hit that button. It says unmute. When you go mute, it'll say unmute to allow you to speak. So please do not hesitate. Hi, honey. Don't hesitate to do that, to make a comment or ask a question for Mary. And a lot of us have kids at home. If you see children running across the screen or one of us is distracted, we all know that we understand each other and our situation. So thank you for that, Grace. Yeah, my husband just walked in. I'm like, hi, honey. And if you would like to share your screen, you just press the start video button in the bottom left corner of your Zoom if you're unfamiliar. And then we will see your lovely face. But if you are not in the position to do that, or you don't feel like being seen, then that is no problem. You can stay right where you are. No worries. We are recording, just FYI. And we do that so we can post the video later in case you want to go back and listen, or for people that miss it, that really want it to be here, they can listen to it later. We post it on the units in the Facebook group and also on our YouTube channel so that we can get all this good, juicy information. Okay, checking my notes. Got my good old composition book. All right, I think we're good. Okay, Mary, I'm gonna drive your PowerPoint, so just let me know if you need anything in particular.
Please and thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm gonna go on mute, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. So glad everybody's here. Hopefully you can hear me very well. Just a couple of disclaimers. I'm sitting in the parking lot as my daughter is in an all-day chemistry lab. So we're in Williamsburg. So I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting. But that's okay. It's the story of our lives as homeschooler moms. She's supposed to be going to lunch soon, so I keep looking to see if she's coming out. So I'm waiting. If I look up, that's what I'm doing. But I am so happy to be here, and thank you for having me. Thank you, Wanda, for starting this, giving us somewhere to be, to learn, to come together, to support each other. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Shannon, for always getting the information out and helping everybody. Thank you so, so much. So I'll try not to be too long, but today is about socialization. Just a little bit about me. I've been married almost 24 years. My husband and I have 4 children. The oldest is 18. He graduated just this June. We have a rising, junior. I had to think about it. A son. And also we have 14-year-old boy-girl twins who are entering 9th grade. So we do a lot of socialization. Sometimes right, sometimes help us God. But anyway, we make it work. So anyway, and of course, as I get started here, my daughter is coming to get her lunch. But you can go to the next slide, Shannon. But socialization is interesting, and I'll give you a little brief history on socialization. When you're a kid, of course, the S word, you know what the S word is when you're a kid, and if somebody says it, is, oh yes, it's going down. So then you get grown and you get married, and then you have yet another S word, and you learn to well, hopefully, if you get married, you do it successfully. I'm still learning after 24 years, I'll be honest. But anyway, I love you too, girl. But anyway, yeah, so you get the S word, you know what it is as a kid, and then you grow up and you get another S word you need to adhere to. So, and you proceed, please, ma'am. And then you can move on, Tony, Shannon. So then you are grown and you're all happy. You're married, you know, you're grown. You're a mom. And I'd like to think that being mom is my superpower, because sometimes my kids are like, how did you know that? You can't even see me. I can see everything because I'm a mom. And that's what I tell them. But you know, you're a mom and you figure I'll homeschool because I'm super mom. I can do everything. So yeah, I said we'll homeschool. Next slide. Yep. And would you know it, there's another S word. So if you homeschool, you have heard socialization. Oh my gosh. Next slide, please. Y'all just bear with me because I'm a little silly sometimes. But if you homeschool, you are, as soon as you tell somebody we homeschool, the first thing they want to know is, well, are you qualified? How can you teach your children? And my thought is always, you mean the kids who I labored for, the kids that I diapered and birthed and everything, those kids? Anyways, it's almost like if you tell somebody you're vegan, they want to know all of a sudden, well, how do you get your protein when they didn't, they really weren't concerned before. But it's okay. It's okay. So if you homeschool, you will have to deal with socialization questions. And just a quick note, my kids go to get their annual well child checkup every year. And sometimes I'm thinking, are you concerned more about who they're seeing day to day than their actual physical health? Because I get a million questions about who do they see? How many times a week do they get out? And I'm like, can you look at the stuff that we're concerned about, with their actual physical health? I'm more concerned about that. But for some reason, everybody wants to know, do you socialize? Do you get out and see other people? We do get out and see
Talk
other people.
about it.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy sometimes, but I've learned to deal with it. After this is our 5th year, we're going into our 5th year now. I'm good now. I don't give anybody the mean, weird looks. I don't roll my eyes anymore. I'm a lot better now. I'm just saying. Okay, anyway, next slide. So, of course, if you got to know what socialization is so we can get started. And this might come a little different than actually a whole lot of meeting up, but some kind of foundational things. So we're okay with, what we're doing, and it won't be an issue when someone looks at us crazy and asks us if we're qualified to teach our own children. Anyway, it's just simply the process whereby people acquire the rules of behavior and systems of beliefs and attitudes that equip a person to function effectively as a member of a particular society. Next slide. When you're social, you learn basically how to act in public. Ladies cross their legs. Gentlemen enter and exit the elevators first. That was not something that I knew until I was an adult, actually. I did not realize that gentlemen are supposed to go in the elevator, make sure the car is there. There's no danger in the elevator. They also hold the door so the ladies can get on. When they exit, they look out first to make sure there's no danger, hold the door so the ladies can get off. I didn't know that till I was an adult. So, because we're still learning kind of some socialization things too. But anyway, you learn things, respect your elders, take a bath, brush your teeth. And when you have teenage boys, I'm like, I didn't fail this. I know I'm a better parent. But anyway, yes, I love them, and they do take baths and brush their teeth sometimes. I'm just being honest. But anyway, so I've heard a lot, and again from the doctors, you know, if they're not going to school, how are they being socialized? So I'm always told that socialization, school is where kids get socialized. I'm like, okay, well, I don't think so, but okay, I'll go with it. And the truth is, there are some things that kids do learn in school that does help them with socialization. For instance, they do learn how to wait your turn, how to be kind, how to be considerate. They do learn those things because you do have to, you know, you learn to walk on this side so that they're on this side of the hallway so that there are no accidents. There are different things that they do learn, and kids do learn from their peers. You can learn how some good things from your peers, and you get to see different people doing different things, living different lives. And I think all that does add value to our children. I really do. And on the flip side, because you know, when you go to school, sometimes you do learn some things that are not so appropriate. My kids, you can go to the next slide. My kids would come home and say some things, and I was like, we don't say that. Where did you get that from? Or they would, you know, recite different songs and things, and I'm like, but I didn't play any songs like that. What? So there are some things, because they're being socialized, that they do pick up that are negative. One thing that bothers me when people say that schools are where kids need to be socialized is that, in a way, now this is my opinion, so let me back up and say, hold on, guys, I do not have any degrees in mental health. I do not, but I'm a mom, and again, that's my superpower. But I do think that sometimes the conformity can it can constrain kids' thinking, or it can constrain their artistic abilities. And when you're told to go sit down for 8 hours and you cannot talk, you are told when to go to the bathroom, when to go eat. Sounds like another institution in society, but that's just my personal opinion. So that's not gospel. That's just my personal opinion. But I when we started homeschooling in 2016, I actually made the decision to jump because I watched a TED Talk with Sir Ken Robinson. And it's only 19 minutes. I can't think of the actual title of it, but he was talking about how institutionalized our schooling kind of it inhibits our children from free thinking, from being creative. And it opened something up in me that I was like, wow, that is pretty deep. And I think that sometimes we think that we're doing good because our children are learning, and that is a good thing. But there's an important aspect of their mental development that is kind of constrained when they have to sit, they can't talk, they're told what to do here, you know, and it's hard for one teacher to teach 20 different learning styles. That's difficult. I'm teaching 4 different learning styles myself. So I know sitting in a classroom with 20, 25 different kids, that's gotta be serious. So I think that also, because everybody is conforming, it does kind of inhibit your independent thinking. You are not, you know, a lot of free ideas are not able to, unless you have a really, really good teacher. And I said good teacher, I mean someone who is okay with, you know, kids thinking, okay with kids sharing what they think. I had a teacher in 9th grade. I will never forget Mr. Madison. If I see him today, I'd know who he was, because Mr. Madison taught earth science. And let me say this, I think most of us probably went to public school and we turned out fine. So there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just looking at the limits of saying that this is the ends all, the bees all, to make sure kids know what they need to do to function in society. But Mr. Madison taught earth science, and we would go into class and he would tell everybody to get up and stand in your chair, and we would do different things. We would go outside and look at the clouds, and he would show us the clouds. We would literally go outside, lay down on the ground. We would look at the different clouds, and he would just give us different ways to remember what the clouds were, which different names. And he was just so passionate and so energetic that I know it was beneficial to not only myself, but only my other classmates as well. I'll never forget Mr. Madison's passion. And I don't think that, I think that if you have a teacher in that who can do that, the kids are the better for it. But all of the kids do not get that benefit, especially now when we are so geared to testing. You don't really have a lot of time to socialize, to talk, to get to know people. So I know I spend a lot of time on this, but that's one of my kind of pet peeves. Limiting our thinking. It just bothers me a little bit. But anyway, moving on. Also, another one is peer pressure. Peer pressure is deep. It has made kids do some. It has made kids do some serious things, even to the point of suicide. And we've had a few of them a few years ago. I remember in Newport News in particular, a young lady was being pressured and she killed herself. I mean, I think this young lady was 15. So it's a lot of things you really got to look at when we're trying to push making sure our kids are functioning properly in society. There's a lot that goes along with it. We got to be aware of that. But the next slide is something that I would love to take credit for this, but it's not mine. I learned this, a church that we used to attend, they had a guest speaker, Dr. Bill Winston. Dr. Winston, I believe his church is in Illinois, but he came and he talked about developmental stages in people. And I think sometimes in the rush to make sure our children are socialized, whether they're homeschooled or in public school, doesn't make a difference. We push so hard that we sometimes overlook some steps. And I'll explain it. He talked about 3 different steps: dependence, independence, and group. Of course, dependence is when we're younger. We need our parents to help to feed us, to bathe us, to transport us, things of that nature. Then in independence, we get older and we're able to bathe ourselves. We're able to dress ourselves. We learn to drive. We can do more for ourselves. And then we go into group where we come and we compile our ideas. We compile thinking. We brainstorm together and things of that nature. What happens to a lot of us, and I think this might happen sometimes in a rush to make sure our kids can function properly in society, we go from dependence, we skip over independence, and we go straight to group. And the thing that we miss in independence, and I think it sometimes in school, when we don't allow our kids to freely think, when you learn independence, you learn to know that you're okay the way that you are. You learn to be okay with your ideas, with your thoughts. You can process things. And then when someone doesn't like your idea or may not agree with you, you're okay with that. You don't leave saying, oh my gosh, you don't do that. We go from dependence to group. And so when we get in a group and the group says, well, what are your ideas? And we share our idea and the group says, well, yeah, that's not really going to work for us. We're going to go with something else. If we haven't learned to be okay within ourselves and think independently, what happens is in the group is we are now thinking that the group is not just rejecting. We think that the group is not rejecting our idea, but we say the group is rejecting us. And that's not what's happening. But when you learn to be independent, when you learn to freely think, when you think, I'm okay if I don't, color inside the lines. I'm okay if I don't do whatever everybody else is doing. That's what we learn in independence. But if we skip that part, we can be socialized as much as we want to, but when we are unsure of ourselves and we don't trust what we think or what we believe, it can hinder us later on. So we got to make sure that as we're making sure our kids are functioning properly in society, we've instilled in them an independence, that they're okay the way they think, the way they are, whatever it may be. So, and she came back, y'all. Hi. So, but the next slide, I
Mary,
hope everybody got that. Yes, ma'am.
I've never seen a graphic like that, but that just gave me so many light bulbs. So I have to give you praise hands.
Yeah, that was really good.
I mean,
Awesome,
that just
awesome.
explained like the past 3 years. I'm like, OMG. Praise hands for
Awesome.
you.
Yeah, I would love to take credit for that. But yeah, Dr. Winston, he laid that one out. But and I can see it. And like I said, I think because we want to make sure that we don't stick out, because, you know, sticking out, you got some tough skin to stick out. You really do. And if you decide to homeschool and you told somebody, you got some tough skin. But we have to be okay with the decisions and the choices that we make, and not going outside, you know, doing, you know, some unlawful or anything like that, but be okay with how we are. And I think that comes out when people see us, they know that we're comfortable and they can say whatever, but we're comfortable. And I think that helps us better in the long run. But anyway, let me move on so we can get through this. What's the next slide? So these are the ways that, of course, normally, had we not been in the pandemic, we would typically socialize. And I'll get into this a little bit later, but home is the first place we learn to socialize. Home. Just like parents are the first teachers, whether you homeschool or you send them to public school, you're the first teacher. Ways to socialize, especially if you do have more than one child. If you do only have one child, that's okay too, because the parents will just, you know, need to get involved and do some more creative things. But get together, do a family game night, do a Monopoly, a Uno. Our family, we did a riddle night. My husband just told everybody to get together one Friday night, and everybody bring one riddle. We'll all share our riddle, see who can figure it out, and move on. 2.5 hours later, everybody is still in my room falling over. I mean, it just turned out so wonderful that everybody was still looking online, trying to find more riddles, trying to find some really, really good ones to try to stump everybody. We had such a good time just coming up with riddles with each other. Everybody was on their phone or their tablet trying to find something else. And it turned out really fun. Do a family exercise routine. Get up on a Saturday morning or something, and everybody go riding bikes or everybody go walking. Whatever, you know, whatever. We have several trails, several bike trails around in Hampton Roads. Take the family and go get some fresh air and get some exercise. Sports. My children play sports. They play soccer, basketball. They are in church groups, and they were meeting faithfully twice a week with their church groups before COVID. Now, of course, they're on Zoom, but they love their church groups, and they have such a good time there as well. We also did their co-op group meetups. We were doing several of them last year with the intent to do more this year, and of course, again, COVID it kind of changed the plans. I won't say it messed it up, but it changed the plans. There are volunteer projects. We look at different things where we can go help, especially during Christmas. We might help different organizations give out gifts or different things. Volunteer in your neighborhood. We have a 92-year-old neighbor that we kind of adopted. So if she needs something, we'll go clean up for her, take her trash out, whatever she needs, we kind of help out that way. Part-time jobs, whatever, you know, these are ways that kids get out and they see other people. They learn other things. Check your local libraries. I love anything that costs me $3. $3 is always a good price. So many of the libraries, and don't just look at the libraries in your city. We live in Hampton, but we spent a lot of time the last few years over in Norfolk at Slover Library. I just love Slover Library. There's so many different things that we can do. Now, most of this, of course, we'll be able to do full force once COVID is over. But these are ways that kids do get out. Instead of, you know, sitting in class all day, these are ways that kids can go and see people. They can go, like I said, learn from other people their age, or learn from mentors, people that can teach them some things. The next slide, of course, because we are in the pandemic, don't stress. Do not stress. I know this thing, and I'm saying that as a parent, but I'm saying that as an individual, because I have told myself, don't stress, because it's been interesting, very, very interesting, for several different reasons. But don't stress about this. This is not the ends all that be's all. prayerfully we will get out of this and we will have some type of normalcy again. I do think things will be, you know, slightly different from here out, but hopefully we'll be able to get back to going things. So first and foremost, don't be stressed out. We can handle this. We'll make it through this. We're okay. Next, there are some things that we can do to socialize during COVID. And I said you got to be creative. We really got to be creative, especially if we are those type of homeschooling parents who piece together curriculum. This is where you need, please use your creative skills to help your children out. I would say the first and major thing right now, because we are together again, do that family time is essential. When I tell you I have gotten to know my children in a way that I did not know them the last 5 months. I have got to know my husband in a way I did not know him in the last 5 months. Yes, I was like, oh God, we both need some this and some that, because when these kids leave, we got to still like each other, because being home all day, it's been interesting. But this is a good time to get to know your family, get to know your children, spend time together. I think I say that very loosely, very lightly. If there was a benefit to this pandemic, get to know your family, spend time. With so many people that have passed during this pandemic, enjoy your family. Good, bad, and ugly. Enjoy your family now. Make time for them. For the little people, the little ones who can't go out to see their friends, I know you don't want to convert the living room or the den. This is the time to make the forts. Make sure the little people are having a good time, because they may not be on the devices like the teenagers. So the little ones are really going to need some creative stuff. They might need to make some cakes right now, make some donuts, decorate cookies, something to kind of help them to ease the time, so they don't have to focus on, why are we still home? I can't go play with anybody. Yeah, we're going to have to really be creative with the little people. But the older ones, the online gaming, my teenagers they are playing some Fortnite with people in Chicago, different places. They are connecting with people all over. So the older ones, they can do things like that. Everybody's on Zoom right now. Do some play dates on Zoom. For the little ones too, an idea for them is to maybe set up a device where they can eat dinner and talk to their friend while their friend is eating dinner somewhere else. You know, get the parents together so they can set something up like that, or something that kids can do to kind of pass the time. This is a good time to mail a letter to your friend. How nice it would be to get a letter from somebody. And even the little ones can do this. Get a card from somebody, or make a card and send to somebody. This is a really good time to do those things that we kind of don't do anymore because of technology. But one of those things is write a letter or mail a card to somebody. And also turn on your notifications for Hampton Roads Black Home Educators Facebook group. There are some ideas someone's always posting something that you can do that you didn't think of that might work for you, or maybe you can take their idea and modify it. And if you do, share it with us, please, so everybody will know too. Yeah, keep the information going. But stay up to date with what's going on. There's just so much and this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much that we can do, and so many things that we can incorporate into this time that we have to be home. So send your ideas, and if you all have some ideas, please put them in the chat, share with everybody, so we can see what you're doing, how you're passing the time as well. You can go to the next slide, please, ma'am. So yes, more things for the I didn't see too many events for the older ones on the Hampton Roads on the My Active Child, but there are a ton of virtual things, mostly geared to the younger ones, that you can do. Different museums, different organizations have virtual things that you can do, virtual activities that check out, see if they'll work.
Mary, do you want me to click on that or no?
Oh, you sure you can? No problem at all.
I hope I can get back. Let me see.
If you can. While she's doing that, I just have a little side note.
Oh, okay, here we go.
I know that sometimes when things are out of sight, they're out of mind. And when you have it and you're good, we tend to forget that everybody may not be as well off as we are. So if you know somebody who may not have Wi-Fi, and there are people who do not have Wi-Fi in their homes, or they may not have, have what we have, check on them. Maybe they could use some board games. You could just leave it on the front porch or different things like that. But let's just make sure everybody is learning and everybody's making it through COVID. But yes, here are some different things. I'm on my cell phone, so Shannon, I cannot see most of this.
Oh, okay, no problem. Let's see, some that stand out to me.
Thank you.
And I had the nerve to put some food in my mouth. Okay. So I see Slover has virtual events that are posted on this site. And as well as Portsmouth Library has virtual teen camps. I see there is yoga that is done by Let Me Be Great Yoga.
Oh,
it's
come on.
online. Yeah. For kids that like role playing, there looks like there's a role play event through the Virginia Beach libraries. SPCA has something going on. And this is just for today. This is just for today.
Exactly. You can go through, search this site for, any day, but see what's going on. And another thing, and there are some places you can go, you might not be able to go with everybody, and that's okay, because again, use this time to really get to know your family. And I know we want to, I know kids are bored. I get it. I'm not a kid and I'm bored, but we went to the beach. We took our dog to the beach one Sunday morning. Dogs can go to Ocean View in Norfolk before 10 a.m. and weren't that many people there. And oh my gosh, we just had a ball just sitting on the beach, dog in the water, playing in the sand, getting us all dirty. Oh my gosh, but she had a good time. So there are a few things that we can do. And if you're going out, just put your mask on. Put your mask on, and do what do what you do. Again, we help take care. Well, I don't want to say we help take care. We just kind of do what she needs us to do. Our 92-year-old neighbor who we adopted. So, I want to make sure that if we're going to be around her, when I'm around other people, we definitely keep our mask on. She is 92. She had a 98-year-old sister who contracted COVID and passed away. So we're trying to keep her safe. So if you do go out, please put your mask on. I'm not telling anybody to stay home because, we still have to go out for groceries. We still have to do different things. But, just be safe if you can. Another thing that we do when we do go out, if you have little ones, help them when you're going grocery shopping. Make a list. Let them help you get the items on the list. Let the older ones check out, ring everything up, different things you can do while you're out. What's the next slide, ma'am? Yes. And let me say this. I'm prefacing what I want to say because I want to use my words. I want to make sure I don't say anything that's, offensive, but we are the first teachers for our children. Just like we take the time to teach our children to walk, to eat, we teach them how to put the shirt on, don't put the shirt on backwards. We teach them how to tie their shoes. We also have to put that much effort into making sure they understand what's going on in society, how to act, what to do. Put that time, and especially right now during COVID, we have to be really, really creative. We really got to find ways so they're not bored, so they understand. Put the same amount of effort and time that we would do anything else with them into making sure they understand what's going on. This is how you speak when you're out in public. If you do a ma'am, sir thing, I do. Ma'am, sir, ladies, gentlemen, open the doors for the ladies. Put the time into making just like we would do anything else. Because they're our children. something happens, we're responsible. So, you know, make sure we're doing everything we can. And I think as homeschooling parents, that's probably why most of us did it anyway. We're taking that time, we're doing it. But I would say, don't stress. If I had any advice to give, don't stress. Just like they won't learn every single thing they need to know in public school. You won't teach them every single thing, but your passion, your concern, your love for them, I think will kind of take up what you may not have given them in some other area. So don't stress. Just, you know, teach your children what you learn. And as parents, I think at this point, we know what was good that we learned, and we know what we can. No, I'm not teaching that to my children, because yeah, there's some days I'm like, I'm not doing that. But, you know, you can decide, and you know what's going to be best for your children. So I think that may be all. Is that all, Miss Shannon? Yay! I made it. I'm good. I don't, yeah, we can do this. We're going to make it. We'll be fine. And if you don't, find somebody that, you know, can talk you off the ledge. I have done that many a day. We'll be fine. We can make it. So any questions or comments? Anybody have any ideas to share what we can do?
I have a question for the group, and maybe you too, Mary.
Yes, ma'am.
How do y'all feel about boredom? Because sometimes I hear there's value in boredom. I'm a busybody, so I have a hard time with boredom myself. And I think I pressure my family members to stay busy. But can we talk about boredom a little bit? How do y'all feel about that?
I think for me personally, I'll just start briefly. I'm a busybody too, and COVID has made me slow down. And in slowing down, I've had a lot of time to reflect and think. Reflect and think on me personally, you know, things around me, but reflecting on me personally has really been insightful, really been helpful. Scary, but it's been insightful, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
There's some peace in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually, for my children, I actually encourage that, you know, go somewhere and be quiet, you know, and just think about that peaceful place sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Big fan of boredom. I watch my kids, especially like if my husband wants to get on the TV, and so he kicks my 11-year-old off of the TV. Then all of a sudden my 11-year-old is I mean, he's having all kind of conversations with me. But did you know? And I'm reading a book, and he's coming in and talking to me because now the TV is gone. So he, at one point, got so bored to the point he brought down a journal from upstairs and started writing in the journal. I was like, who is this? Like, so I feel like if they are bored and it lasts long enough, you will see stuff that your kids don't usually do, because they're like, okay, I got to do something. Okay, I have a Minecraft journal up in there. I could write, I could write it. I was like, wait a minute. I feel like, and it's just like for us, like sometimes if I'm bored enough, I will go ahead and finally clean out the refrigerator, right? It's like something like that. So I think that's been a really good thing here, is just literally everybody stuck together and getting to the point where you have to converse with the people that are in your house, even if you might not have wanted to.
You know, that's a good point, because our Wi-Fi went down last week, and it was down from morning until about 3 p.m. And we had a lot of good conversations. The beginning of the day, everyone was running around like, oh no, there's no Wi-Fi. And I was like that too, because it was a Friday and we had our workshop. So I was like, oh Lord, no, not today. But there was like a peace in my house. It was really calm. Like everyone was, that angst that happens when all the devices are on, it wasn't there. And I don't know, sometimes I wonder if I should schedule times like that, just like nothingness.
Turn it off. Yes, indeed.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Shannon. We have 5 kids from 12 down to 2, and we moved in the middle of the pandemic. And so I think my children will remember this differently than a lot of kids did, because it sort of follows the rhythm of military life. And so they're used to moving somewhere and not knowing anybody. And they're used to kind of, severing their connections with, the people that they've known before. But there's also a lot to be done, around the house. And I feel like I need to be more intentional about scheduling that space. I schedule their chores and I schedule their schoolwork and, and all of that, but I have not been intentional about scheduling space, even if they don't know about it, where they are needing to be quiet, sort of how we have it structured is, they can have an hour to an hour and a half of screen time once they finish everything else, and then that's it. But even with just that hour to hour and a half, which isn't really that much, there's still plenty to be done around it, that there still is not a whole lot of quiet time beyond that, if that makes sense. Maybe it's just because there's so many of them. I don't know. It might just be me.
Oh, that was good. Wow.
All right. So maybe there's just no chance of anything ever being quiet in my house. Maybe that's all it is. I don't know.
No, the military, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it, because you are always moving, and you do. I'm a military brat. I think I never spent more than 1 year in the same school. And that's an interesting way to look at the pandemic that you knew anyway. I mean, maybe, it's not that bad. Wow.
I mean, we are starting to get a little bit like, Mom, we would like to make some friends at some point. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go to church at some point too, but we're doing what we can, But at the same time, it puts us in a strange place, because I don't want to do too much online socializing with their friends from other places, because there's like, groups that they were in who are saying, we can't wait till we see each other again. That hurts for my kids, and so I don't want them to necessarily feel like they have to do that when they're not up for it. And so we're, like everybody else, but just in our own way,
Wow, interesting. Very interesting.
Mary, I like what
Oh, go ahead.
I like what you were saying about independent thinking on that graph. Yeah, that's a graph. Because I think one thing that was positive when I brought my children home from public school was that they became okay with being introverts, because I have 2 basically introverted kids. And I don't think it was appreciated when they were in a public school setting, or there was more emphasis on everybody has to talk, everybody has to participate, everybody has to, be wilding out or whatever. It was a lot of emphasis on outward expression and no appreciation for the kids who were maybe quiet or less talkative. And, I think I won't say there was shame around it, but there was just a lot of pressure. And I learned that about my kids, that they're basically very shy, and it's okay. And I think I even tried to like bring them out. And it just wasn't a good thing. I was like, okay, I get it now. So I really appreciate you speaking on that.
Awesome. Are there any things that anyone is doing right now that they can share that's working for them as far as getting out or passing the time, basically?
So we've been going to, at the YMCA, you have to schedule time to go to the outdoor pool. The one, we go to the one Taylor Ben Y in Chesapeake. And so they literally have 25 people in that whole big, huge pool area. And so you have to schedule, like, for 1 hour, you got to go on the computer schedule. So we've been scheduling for the last few weekends one of those hours. And so it at least gets the kid, I take my son and his cousin, and it gets them out, you know. I mean, it's serious, like 1 hour. As soon as that hour is up, they like blow the whistle and you got to get out. Last week, we were in there for 15 minutes and it thundered, and that was the end of our,
Oh, wow.
so that's the risk you take. But if you're a Y member, they have an outdoor pool, it is possible to at least get some pool time in.
I like that. I like that.
I think Virginia Beach Rec is doing something similar where you have to go online and schedule time to do certain activities. We're not members, but I do get the emails.
I know the I'm not sure if you have to schedule time, but I know the neighborhood pools in Hampton are open, and every time I go by, so you know, it's not a crowd, but it's a good many people who are outside, you know, kind of enjoying the air and getting out a little bit. So that is a good thing. I do know, I think I read that the CDC did recommend that swimming was something that was probably good to do outdoors. So that's good. That's very good. Anybody else?
We
Because I'm
jump
looking
in
for
the,
ideas too.
this is not exciting, and I'm pretty much I don't know, we've been in the house a lot, but we do walk our neighborhood. So we'll just go outside and walk a mile and come back. So that's been really like, yay, I got outside. Um, and then the kids will say, okay, let's take a ride. And literally getting in the car and going anywhere has been pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the grandparents are here. So we try once a week to see both sides. One's in Norfolk and one's in Virginia Beach. So we try to pop over there with our mask on and hang out with them for a little bit. So that's
Cool.
been, I mean, when you've been in the house, that's a lot. It's been good.
Yeah, it's funny because I had somebody tell me last weekend, y'all already been homeschooling. You're pretty good now. You don't have any issues. I was like, not really, but we do want to go outside. We're used to getting out too. But he was
I
like,
know,
no,
that's
y'all have to
great.
jump on it. I said, well, yeah. I mean, it probably did not affect us or hit us as hard as it hit some people. And I in the beginning would see the memes with all the parents. Oh God, no, I can't take it. I gotta go. Oh my goodness, it was so good. But it probably did not affect us as because I'm used to, we're homeschoolers. This is what we do. We make a way. So it's been interesting.
I think that's a good point though, because I don't know. I mean, we're like you, Mary. We were on the go before the pandemic. If we weren't at the trampoline park, which is it's back open, but I don't want to go yet. We were at the arcade every day. The Xbox arcade game on. I mean, and to have everything shut down as homeschoolers, that hit us like a jolt of lightning. It's like, oh no, we can't
Yes, we
go
were looking forward to
anywhere.
coming over to the gaming truck this year. I said, oh, we're going to the gaming truck. We are not going to the
Exactly.
gaming truck right now. So, but it's okay. It's okay. Won't be too upset about it. But just little things we can do. Maybe going to the grills. Lighting the grill, smoking some marshmallows out. On the grill. Just little things that we can still do. To keep our sanity. So.
Yep.
And I
Shannon,
thought that you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Shannon, you mentioned driving, and that made me think a couple weeks ago I was trying to see if there's any like historical tour or historical marker driving tours or anything like that. Do you guys know anything? Do you know of any? Like, up in Maryland there was, the Harriet Tubman byway, and there's a whole like driving tour of Black history that you can do up in Maryland. I didn't know if there's anything like that down here, or if there's anything organized around historical markers, that we could just drive and do some kind of audio tour or anything like that. Have y'all heard of anything like that?
We did one in Jamestown a couple years ago. We were actually talking about going back. where you can see where the settlement was, and you drive it literally like you were just saying.
Mhm.
And I do not remember if there was an audio linked in, but there are markers that you can read along the path. And it goes
Okay.
deep into the woods, and you swivel around, and then you end up at the water, like the landing area.
Oh,
And yeah, it's very moving. We did that a couple years back, and it's free. As far as I can remember, I don't remember paying anything to do that.
You mean by
Um,
the 4-H club?
You know, I'm Mary. You know, I'm on the south side. I don't know where I was. I was in Jamestown.
I think that maybe because it does go there. There's actually some trails, bike trails, and it does go down to the water. And it's quite a few miles long. So if you have bikes, it's a good idea to bring your bike. You can do that. But there's walking
Mhm.
trails. There's a lot of things you can do, and that is over in Jamestown by the 4-H Center. Quite
Yeah,
serious.
it's nice. It's nice.
But there are actually, I don't know if they do audio tours, but I'm saying each. I know definitely in Hampton, in Newport News, in Williamsburg, they have, as Shannon said, lots of markers. There's so much history in this area. Oh my gosh. You might, you know what? I'm going to find that out and see if I can find it out and post it to the group, because there is a lot. There are markers. I mean, everywhere. We've been here for almost 30 years. I'm still seeing new things that I did not even know existed here. But
Mhm.
you can go in different places, different homes that are set up that you might be able to do private tours for famous people who live here, or different homes that were that famous Black families lived in years, decades ago, that are still, standing as museums. I know there are several of them in Newport News as well. But there are quite a bit of historic markers that you might be able to drive, yourself to check out. And I'm going to look that up. I will do that.
yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll look and see what I can find too. Between the two of us, maybe we'll uncover something. There might even be a fun thing to caravan and, do if
Oh,
there's
that's such a good idea.
like a specific topic tour or something.
Come on, caravan.
Good in theory, and then you all get out there, and then my 2-year-old twins have dirty diapers, and then it's a mess, and I don't know. But
That's a good
Not blaming on the little
idea.
people. It's not the
Because
little people.
we
I mean,
can
it's
be
worth a
socially
try. It's
distant.
worth a try.
Because the
And
older ones will be like, oh, I'm bored. I don't want to be here.
But they could all be on Zoom on our phones, like they could be talking to each other as we're all driving around. It could just be complete chaos. It'd be great.
That's creative. I love it. I like going to Fort Monroe as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful spot. And the history markers are there as well.
Wow.
And all the boats are coming through still, and the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. Amazing.
Definitely. Fort Monroe has got lots to see and lots to tour.
Mhm.
Actually, if you can get some time to go to Fort Monroe, that's a great place to start. That is pretty good. That's definitely really good.
Something else we did, and y'all please jump in because I'm talking a lot. My husband loves weird history facts and like weird places to go. So we went to the cemetery like last month, and there in Norfolk off of Princess Anne Road, there's a cemetery that has African American veterans from the Civil War.
Wow.
Yes. Just really, I have never gone to a cemetery for fun. Like, let's go. It was supposed to be date night, by the way, date day or whatever. And he's like, we're going to the cemetery. I'm like, okay, let me make sure the life insurance is up to date because you're taking me to the cemetery. But we went to the cemetery. It's called West Point Cemetery, and it's inside the other cemetery, and it was built in the
Wow.
early 1900s, and they buried a lot of the veterans from the Civil War there. And there's a huge monument of one of the veterans who earned a badge of honor, medal of freedom. And it's not really spoken of that much, but it was a really wonderful outing that we did. And it was just the two of us. We didn't bring the kids, but we could have, and they probably would have thought it was weird, but memorable and something cool to do. Even driving by other tombstones and seeing the names and these big, I don't know what they're called, just huge monuments to people and the years they lived, like back in the 1800s and stuff. It was pretty interesting. That was a cool spot.
That's different. I like that.
Yeah, cemetery. And we want to go, I don't know if anyone's been to the Black Lives Matter street in DC that they painted recently.
Haven't been there.
That would be a good, day drive. And just
agree.
get out, stand there and take pictures.
I agree. That would be.
We definitely want to do that.
This is not necessarily educational, but one of the things that I was thinking about, I have little kids, 6, 4, and an almost 3-year-old, and 2 girls who love mermaids, is to go to all the mermaids in Norfolk and then just have them pictures and like a scavenger hunt of the mermaids.
That's a great idea. I love that.
That is great. That's some good homeschooling right there. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
They can learn, draw. Man, there's so much in that. Gosh, that's really nice.
Is there a map, I wonder, of where they're all located?
I did look, I tried to Google it, but I don't think all of them are listed.
Okay.
So I think what I'm going to do is just print off on the norfolk.gov website. It shows some of them, but not all of them. And some of them, like there's one in the botanical gardens that's inside the gardens. So like there's some, you have to be a member to access, but I do like what Heather said, caravanning with Zoom on at the same time. I think that would be a good idea.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Awesome.
I wrote it down so we maybe can brainstorm on it. Something else cool that my family did, this was not right now, this was last year, but I'm not familiar with the name of it because it's in Hampton, but it was on, what is that, Mercury, the long road? And it was a bunch of airplanes from different eras.
The Air Power Park.
Yes. My kids loved that.
Yeah.
Seeing all the different planes. Yeah, and you can drive through, so you don't have to, go inside or whatever. But we had fun doing that. And it's very small, but the planes were ginormous, and just getting out and taking pictures and looking at them and doing the history about each one of them. That was fun.
That's nice too. That's nice. Look, I need some advice. I'm looking for some farmers markets. Is anybody? I know this is so not homeschool, but I need some farmers
everything's
markets.
homeschool.
It's funny you said that, because there's one that was one of the things that we do sometimes is we ride our bikes down, because there's one not like maybe a mile from our house, but we're over in Western Branch, and you said you're up on the peninsula, right?
I'm in Hampton. Yes.
Yeah. So,
I'll travel though. Actually, wait a minute. Where is Western Branch? That's Chesapeake.
Western Branch. We're right across the Monitor Merrimack. Yeah, but we're like.
I'm going to Harbor. No, I'm going to Harborview tomorrow morning. Tell me where it's at.
Okay, well, you know what? What is it called? Bennett's Square? Something or other? There's like
Bennett's Creek.
Bennett's Creek.
Thank you, ma'am, because I don't even know. I told you I'm new. The farmer's market is supposed to be really good out on 17, right? Is that right, Adrienne? Am I talking about the right place?
Oh, okay. I've seen it, but I haven't been to that one. Portsmouth has one, Portsmouth Old Town Farmers Market. If you are on Facebook, that's in downtown Portsmouth. They have one that I was going to at the beginning of COVID. Then I just stopped wanting to get out of the house in the morning time, so I stopped going. They had, in one of the farms that was there, it's black owned, a black owned farm that was always there at the farmers market.
And where again?
Portsmouth Old Town Farmers Market.
Gotcha. Okay.
if you look on Facebook, they have a Facebook page and they put all their information on there, and it's in downtown Portsmouth. So you know how Portsmouth right there on the water, they call it the town. And there's a that's another historic place. And it's water and you can walk down there, but they have in the parking lot of a church, they have a farmer's market there. And they have you know, vegetable farm. Then they also have a guy who has like pork, like this I think he's out of like Isle of Wight or something that comes. So that may be a place for you to check out.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Well,
There
good.
used to be one in East Beach, but I'm not sure if they're still having it with COVID. There's one Virginia Beach, I think it's 19th Street. I think they're still having theirs. And there's a big one in Smithfield.
Mm.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love the farmers market. You can always just find some really cool stuff there. And I like to go get fresh vegetables. My husband loves watermelons. I hate watermelons. Ugh. But I always, you know, we're looking for something good. I like to get eggplant and zucchini and anything else I can get, you know, it's kind of original. So trying to do better too and eat better.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, ladies.
And then there's Virginia Beach Farmers Market on Princess Anne Road. Princess Anne and Dam Neck.
Yes, thank you. Peanuts and pork. Oh boy, that sounds, I'm about to be in trouble. Okay, we can do it. We can do it.
Peanuts and pork.
I think that's
Yes.
Bennett Square Place, whatever you said it was called, Adrian. I think that's their website.
Business Creek.
Yeah, I think the peanuts and pork one is the one that's Bennett's Creek.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Thank you.
I also saw something on our page in our group. Someone's doing a cooking club.
Oh, I missed that. Really?
And she's invited the members of the group. She's doing it on Zoom. And I'm trying to think of her name. I want to say it was Tamara. It wasn't the Tamara that was on the 11 o'clock session. It was a different Tamara.
Oh,
But
I need to find that. Oh, I'm going to go back. That's my 15-year-old, the one that's autistic. He will go in the kitchen and when he goes to the kitchen, everybody looks and goes, and I'm just kind of seeing that seems like that may be his niche. And we were scheduled to meet with the gentleman before COVID started, so he could kind of get some tips. And so we have been looking for someone who will do cooking classes online, so he can, you know, he can flex his skills.
yeah, really. Her name is Tamara Brown.
Tamara Brown.
Yep.
And it's on our page?
I thought it was, but I don't see it. But when I find it, I'll shoot it over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. I don't have anything else, Shannon. I want to keep everybody.
Okay.
Unless anybody else has any ideas. Oh my gosh.
This was good. This was really good to be, I mean, even though we've been homeschooling for 8 years, you still need to be reminded, right? Because you have periodic panic, like, oh my gosh, my kids don't have any friends. You know, you just have those like periodic panic no matter how long you've been homeschooling. And so it's good to hear this stuff again.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I was thinking. I was trying to write down my thoughts so I didn't forget. There are also things like OutSchool and Houghton online that have social clubs. So if you don't mind your children being on Zoom for those social clubs, I know my kids have done anime club and drawing clubs and different things like that. Houghton is free right now, which free, hello, that's my middle name.
Did a Japanese class or something you posted?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Free. They usually charge, but they're doing a COVID special. So, you know, great. And there's a whole bunch of classes that they offer. And OutSchool is not free, but they have still a whole lot of different offerings if you have a budget for that. And we've taken a lot of their classes too, and we like them. So, but I would say if you all have ideas, please post them in the group. Like if you want to get people together, create an event or make a post and we'll help you push it. Like Heather, you had that awesome idea. If you decide to develop it, please post it and, you know, let us get involved with what you're doing. I think that was a great idea. So don't be shy, everybody.
Thank you, Shannon. No, that reminds me real quick. I'm also the one that posted and said I wanted to do a book club around the woke readings, for the O Freedom curriculum. And I posted that, I don't know, like a month ago or something. I've pretty much abandoned that at this point because it just doesn't seem like a good time for a book club. And
I didn't see that post.
I couldn't figure out how to do that successfully with a group of older elementary students on Zoom. So sorry, the dog and the boy. So if that's something, maybe I should repost again. But if it's something that we could figure out how to do successfully, but I feel like it would become more parent intensive at that point. If we were to try to do it anyway and do it by Zoom, because I'm not sure that the kids would be able to keep their attention without more parental involvement or some sort of activity going along with it that would have to be prepped in advance. Does that make sense?
It does. I love the idea. I did not see your post, and I know that Facebook buries things. I love the idea. I think I haven't seen anyone want to do a book club for woke homeschooling, so I think that is awesome. And I think the kids would be engaged as long as it's not a full hour. That's just my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
it's more
Yeah,
like, yeah, 25 or 30 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, does anybody else kind of yay or nay on that? I'm not asking for a commitment, but is it a good idea to even pursue? Because I don't want to, put a bunch of work. Okay, that's one person. Thank you, Shannon.
Heather, I would repost it and see what kind of opinions you get. That's
There were a few people that said they were interested, but you know how we are, homeschoolers.
Yes.
Exchange on a dime. They do.
So true. Yeah, I posted the other day I was going to teach a praise dance because I've been praise dancing for 20 years. And I actually had someone ask me to teach their girls the dance. So I was like, well, maybe a couple other people will want to attend. And I did have a few families that were interested. So it was cool. It was a good opportunity to share my gifts and my idea and help kids to socialize and to try something different. So I felt good, like contributing in that way. So I think you should try again, Heather. I said all that to say that.
Okay. I have to run. I'm being summoned to poetry tea time. The kids have come and given me the eye a couple times now. So I gotta run.
Cool.
Talk to you again soon. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
Bye.
Anyone have anything else they want to share? Carrie, I see you.
Poetry tea might be a good thing over Hampton Roads Black Home Educators too. That's I know Shireen was doing it in Hampton Road, homeschooling in Hampton Roads. But that might be a fun thing. At least, I mean, I'm a poetry teacher. I don't know about other people, but there are probably some kids that write poetry, their own poetry and all that stuff. So that might be something cool to do.
Can y'all hear? That's a strange sound, isn't it? Someone went underwater. Yeah, Adrian, that is a good idea. I saw that posted in the big group, but I have not attended. So.
I always wonder if it's one of those things that I really like as a parent, like the kids are like, And the only reason I can get my kids to come to poetry tea is because I serve tea and cookies and I make them come. So I don't know if it's something, I don't know if it's something that kids actually enjoy.
I'm not sure. My kids are so anti everything. So I would be there, but I don't know. I would drag them. Like you said, make them. That's my entire life, is make them every day. But that's another workshop.
I feel so normal. Oh, thank you. Feel so good.
Listen, I'm just over here surviving. Carrie, what were you going to say before?
Just that I'm a new homeschooler, so this is my first year, and I have young ones. So some of you guys with older ones, I'm with the young ones. I have a 2-year-old, and then one that's going to be in 2nd grade, and then one that's going to be in 1st grade. So, and that's it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. So.
Well, welcome to homeschooling.
You
Thank
got
you.
it. You got it.
I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You can.
All right, my friends. Well, our next workshop is Friday at 11 o'clock, and we are doing cyber awareness. So please be there so that we can learn from Joe, Wanda's husband, about staying safe online. We really need that as parents, especially in these times where everything is electronic. So we got to be on our P's and Q's, as they say.
Awesome.
Mary, big thanks to you
Indeed.
for sharing your wisdom and
Mary, that
knowledge.
was really good.
Yes, thank
My
you.
pleasure. Indeed, indeed.
Thank you so much. And we'll see everybody next time.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Bye. Have a great day.
Have a good one.
Meeting
Bye,
everyone.
Wanda.
Thank you.